When we see the sea, palm trees, and villas, this image is associated with vacation and a carefree life. But for me, it's not just about relaxation. It's about starting a new business, making important decisions, taking risks, and growing. Right now, I'm in Phuket, and it was here that I first invested money in overseas real estate. My name is Denis Rochnyak, and today I will tell you how you can preserve or even grow your money by investing abroad. And to help me with this will be Anton, the producer and director of our film. By the way, here he is. Anton and I will show you our team and our projects. I'll explain how we invest and how you can do the same together with us.
And these realtors, these charlatans, they just want to make money off you, try to sell you something, right?
Do you get paid well for the value you provide?
We love to eat, live in beautiful places, and travel, right?
And my dream came true.
But did I show my charisma there?
I have the top floor, a penthouse. Let's go.
An amazing video review.
It was the year 2021. At that time, the goal was to successfully invest some capital, yes, from the perspective of investments and simply to preserve it. According to the criteria that are important to me in terms of investing, right? That is a stable economy, a clear political outlook for, say, the next 10 years, the geopolitical situation, and the general attitude of the country towards investors. In this respect, Thailand stands out the most. Back then, I bought my first villa in 2021. I bought it through local agents. And of course, I didn't like how those guys worked at all. Again, you ask questions and they don't know the answers. I asked, what are the materials made of? What are the steps made of? What about the walls? What kind of paint was used? And they said, we don't know. You just have to buy it because it's a pre-sale. There won't be prices like this again. And I didn't like that at all, that kind of approach where they're just pushing you to buy instead of getting into the details, into the essence of things, So we bought the first villa and then there came a need to sell it. We sold it and then bought the neighboring villa in the same project, the second one. I had to figure out not only the laws and legal aspects, but also design and technical supervision. Who is building it? Are there documents for the land? What about for the construction? So I had to study all these questions. And while I was figuring things out, I was also sharing my discoveries in my stories for friends and acquaintances, and they started asking me to help them too. I realized that I needed to start a company, and that's how MERU Estate was born. 5 years later, in the international market, we help clients invest in Phuket, Pattaya, and Bangkok in Thailand, as well as in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Today, our clients buying real estate with us come from Spain, Portugal, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, the United Kingdom, the USA, Brazil, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Russia, China, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. We ourselves live in the locations that we sell. We personally invest in the projects we recommend to our clients, and we take responsibility for every step we take.
Clients came to me and I wasn't their first agent. That is, they had already gone with someone else before. And they came to me and said, we looked at these projects and that realtor recommended them to us, said they were really great. And judging by everything, I immediately realized that the realtor has probably lived here for about 2 years, because as soon as I heard the name of that project, I said right away, that one, it's been under construction for 9 years. They said, how come? He told us it's been under construction for 2 years. I said, I've lived here for 10 years and this project has been under construction for 9 years. I was at the opening of that showroom.
Someone who has only recently entered the real estate business, looking at other people's successes, especially against the backdrop of those hyped up explosive sales, which in reality don't happen that often over long periods of time. But this did happen here in Phuket, and as a result, we've seen a lot of new specialists emerge who, in my opinion, are mostly guided by a purely functional approach. In other words, they want to squeeze out the maximum possible benefit here and now without considering what might happen next.
Many partners only explain what leads to their own benefit. They don't care, don't provide support, don't take responsibility, but only show pretty pictures and make big promises. Every other case is when clients come to our company with a bunch of questions.
Clients have a lot of doubts. Will the construction actually be completed? But we always reassure our clients that we only work with companies that already have completed projects, because development here has certain specifics. Because firstly, there's the land designation, and secondly, the number of floors. And it's very important to comply with many regulations in order not to harm the environment and nature. There have even been a lot of doubts among clients about buying online. People are very afraid to trust and make such decisions from a distance. We dispel all the myths, explaining that it is absolutely safe and that we work only with contractors we have been cooperating with for many years. And you can simply, while sitting at home somewhere in your country, already purchase the property of your dreams.
I bought an apartment from Denis, even though I had never been to Phuket before. And I bought an apartment. I just saw his stories and thought, well, I guess I probably should buy it. And then, by the way, recently my friend Vlad said, Kolya, you have a good friend because he recommended an excellent location, even though I had never been here before. Right away, when I was making all the payments, they advised me on the bank, the people, how to transfer the money, where to go. They showed me the correspondence, how they were communicating with the company representative.
There was probably an online presentation, right?
Online. Then I got an official email from the company, from the developer, with all the congratulations. Congratulations, you are now our client, and so on. Well, basically, things like that.
Easy.
Yeah, they kept sending everything to my email, and that's it. And through Denis and the guys, I quickly sorted out all my questions there.
A person arrives, for example, alone or with their family, and even if it's not their first time here, they come with a complete lack of understanding about what a particular district is like, where it's worth investing or not, and what the key advantages of certain locations are. He doesn't understand this, and it seems to him that, it's impossible to fit all this information into his head, say, in a short period of time, like 2 or 3 days.
How do they form their picture of things? It comes together from news, stories from acquaintances and friends, what I've heard, what I've seen, and so on and so forth. And as a result, this enchantment happens. There is no reality as such in this. There are no facts. There is no actuality. And when a person invests in an enchanted reality, they can't honestly and clearly realize what they're actually doing at that moment.
But my task is to ensure that, starting from zero understanding of what's going on, he comes out of the process with a full grasp, 100% understanding of what is happening here, what our market is like, and that he has received more than enough information to make a decision and not regret it.
Even now, I still go to exhibitions, right? Even now, people come up and doubt, is it really possible to register property without a Thai?
Many people still don't know that full ownership exists. Many people don't know that the rent is very high during the season.
That Phuket is a very attractive place for investment, that by putting money here, he will really receive an income.
They say this city is only for those who like to have fun or for old people. Pattaya used to be that kind of place, but over the last 5 years, it has really been developing actively. A lot of money is being invested in it. Of course, Phuket is developing and so is Bangkok, but in Pattaya, especially over the last 5 years,
that the Chinese are in control everywhere and that this is very bad, and that if China turns its attention here, Cambodia will suffer and its development will come to a halt. This is the biggest misconception, because although China remains one of the main investors in Cambodia, it has already established its own logistical export hub here, which now will not move anywhere because they needed a center in Southeast Asia with excellent logistics and special economic zones.
So you come in and say, I want to buy. The first question is, what's the purpose of the purchase? Meaning, what is it for? The second question is, what's your budget? And the third is, when do you want to buy? And when a person answers these three basic questions, a certain structure appears, a step-by-step plan of what they need to do. So, if you want to know what it's for, say for investment or for resale, there are properties like that. If you want to rent, then there are certain properties for that. When do you want to buy? Today, in 6 months, or in a year? Because there are different options available today. For example, if you have a hot interest, you can get discounts and bonuses. If you're just interested, just take a look, study the market, and when you're ready to buy, you can come back, for example. We'll see what will be relevant and interesting at that moment.
In advance, it's better not to.
I'm generally in favor of never forcing, that is, not rushing or pressuring anyone. The client should come to the decision to buy on their own. They need to look, study, and feel it. It's something that comes from within. I want to, I'm ready, or you're simply looking at the purchase from the perspective of investing money and getting a result. Whether it's as an investment or you're buying for yourself, maybe you just want to have your own summer house. Or maybe an apartment, maybe abroad or something else. Everyone has different needs here. Yes? So when you're ready, you buy. There's no need to push or force anyone. We don't do that.
But I always speak to clients honestly, openly, and directly. I say, listen, I want to be honest with you. I have no interest in selling you any particular property. But I won't show you 20 different developers today because, to be honest, I can count on my fingers how many developers and projects I actually sell. I only sell projects that I would invest in myself. This is probably the most significant and main example that I always give to everyone. I truly always want to do for a person, and especially for my client, exactly the same way that I would want to be treated myself whenever I am a client in a similar situation. That, I think, is the most important thing. I always put myself in their shoes. I think, man, I would want some basic things, you know, like someone picking me up by car, explaining things to me. It's my first time on the island. I would want to have some water in the car for sure. That would be nice for me as a client. I try to do that and think ahead about what I would like, what I would want the agent to be completely honest with me, to speak openly, right? Not by putting down other developers or projects or anything like that, but just giving an honest, straightforward opinion. I think that's probably the main approach I use. I always try to be as honest as possible with my client, to tell the truth, and to talk only about those projects that I would buy myself.
If you compare it to Moscow, it's still a dynamic city that demands focus and a fast pace of life. Of course, we have major advantages there: healthcare, education, and opportunities. But in Phuket, as it turns out, these opportunities exist as well. So now, of course, since the children are still in school, and so that the apartment doesn't sit empty, there are very favorable conditions for renting out property here. And the management company actually takes responsibility for overseeing this, so you just receive the money.
I got in touch with MERU Properties. From day one, when I explained my situation and what I was looking for in terms of a property and the needs, they were very quick to understand my needs and then come back with a sort of shortened portfolio of what would be, they think, would match my needs. And they were spot on, number one. They got absolutely everything perfect and gave me a great selection to choose from. They were very professional to deal with from day one. They didn't waste any time. They told me everything black and white. There was, no sort of oversell of the Phuket dream, all of this, that, and the other. It was more about exactly what I wanted and needed. And I was very thankful for that because it was a quick process.
Yes, and this project is located in a very amazing location. So we can go, actually, after our meeting, we can go to the location. So I will show you directly where your villa will be located.
Perfect, that's great.
Yeah,
extremely impressed with the people that I dealt with. And we went forward with a property and I couldn't be more happy. It was a very smooth process. I would recommend them to anyone in terms of confidence, security, and just knowing that you're in safe hands.
It's very important not only to calculate the risks, but also to think rationally and act not out of emotion, in my opinion, but rather to take rational steps, anticipating how you will pay off this real estate. Because counting on being able to resell halfway through in just 1 month, in my view, is an emotional decision.
Our goal is not just to close the deal and focus on generating financial profit.
Why is that? Because we analyze the market, we understand where to buy, and we accompany the transaction not just until the keys are handed over, but until the entire cycle of our deal is completed, which includes goal setting, what the investor wants to achieve. And the completion of the deal is the point at which the investor receives exactly what they initially said they wanted to get. If it's about renting out the property, then the end point is when we've rented it out and received the percentage we calculated. If it's about resale, then the end point of the deal is when we've resold the apartment and received the profit that was initially calculated, whether it's the same amount, a bit more, or maybe a bit less, because the market changes. We're not clairvoyants, we don't have a crystal ball.
Honestly, I just don't want to ruin my own karma, by having someone invest their money and not get the expected result, because our company has a very good reputation in the market, and our goal is only to improve it, not to damage it. And we will never recommend something to a client that doesn't match their needs or their capabilities.
Let's start by looking at the 5 initial stages of the formation or development of any given market. The first stage is when major players enter the market, possibly even the government. They create certain platforms or corporations where, as they envision it, something will be established, a kind of resort, a certain resort area. This is the first stage of forming the platform itself. This is a market for big players, a market of high risks, and an ordinary PTV investor should not enter here. The second stage is precisely the market that emerges when a certain field of agreements and understandings has already been formed. This platform is approved at a high level. It is governed by the authorities of this platform, by the state, meaning it is coordinated with other participants. This is the second stage. This is growth, meaning this is the initial stage of growth and development. It is at this second stage that a retail investor should enter, because this is when a certain market for speculative investments is being formed. That is, yes, this is speculation in the good sense of the word, but again, it's about having the ability to spot this opportunity in time, to enter at the right moment, then exit in time and possibly enter again. Why? To be among the first at the beginning, to make your times 2, times 3, times 5, or even just times 1. For example, those who bought Bitcoin early on, when it cost 10 cents or $1, and now look at it, it has grown thousands of times. That's exactly what I'm talking about right now. Because when the second stage is forming, that's when there's the greatest opportunity for speculation and the least risk of losing. It all depends on the project and the developer.
The market itself just pulls everything upward.
Yes, and the big players who shape this market, they're the ones driving it. The third stage is when the market has already settled down. It's a clear and stable situation, meaning the market has stabilized. It operates organically on growth and, for example, on rentals. Yes, that's the time when speculators exit, and also the time for those who value stability to lock in their positions, those who need a clear outlook for the next 3, 5, or even 10 years. So you have
slower growth and lower percentage returns,
but
at the same time,
there is more stability. The next stage, the fourth, is when a certain stagnation in the market begins. Somewhere a new similar market starts to emerge. That is, some new resort, city, location, or island appears which is similar to this one but is already new, with new features, with new and interesting technologies, and the investor starts looking in that direction. In other words, some clients are drawn away by the new options. Then the fifth stage is a complete decline. That's it, when this location no longer works. And so one of the goals, the mission of our company is the constant search for our clients and investors, these new and interesting venues, these windows of opportunity that would provide maximum returns, whether in a speculative market or a stable one. It all depends on the client's readiness, at which stage to enter.
But before we start selling in a new location, we go there ourselves, see everything with our own eyes, talk to developers, leading market players, and whenever possible, to those responsible for the country's future development. We study the market and conduct analytics based on 14 years of experience. We always find representatives who have lived in this location for a long time, and only after that do we launch sales. For example, when we entered Cambodia, we met with the president of the Cambodian Russian Chamber of Commerce, who told us about the future awaiting the location based on master plans, enacted laws, signed agreements, and the government's development direction. In addition, he took us to specialized departments that are directly responsible for the investment climate and the country's future.
It's impossible to get involved in real estate in a country without knowing that country from the inside, what it lives by and what makes it interesting in the first place. That's why, considering that Denis had already visited various temples before, he wanted to show me the history and beauty that this country is famous for.
This approach is used everywhere where MERU Estate operate. Our rule is this: if you see that the client is heading in the wrong direction, you shouldn't just sell to them. You need to stop them and guide them.
I have a case study. A client of mine was considering 3 projects from the same developer. All 3 projects were at different stages. One was completed, one was under construction, and the third was also under construction, but with a much longer timeline. The third one was just, wow. It's really one of those situations where you walk in and think, seriously? Is it really going to be like this? Everything there is so beautiful. They have the most thoroughly developed client process, so you'll only leave there with a signed contract. But I sat down and explained to him, I said, listen, it's great, really. The first and second are really excellent projects. But the third one looks the best, yet I trust it the least. I said, let's better focus on the first 2. There are ready options. We can take them. Great. You'll get results quickly right away. That's it. Well, he liked everything so much that in the end, we took 2 in the second project, which are still under construction, but the stage of construction is closer to completion, and I feel more confident about it. And it seems to me, looking at how things are going right now, I, for example, still wouldn't have gone for the third one at this point.
A person came to see me. It was a walk-in, meaning he just walked into my office. He came in and said, my budget is 1,800,000, maximum 2 million. And even then, we need to negotiate so that we can keep it within 1,900,000. I said, no problem. Wonderful man, I adore him. He left because he had to leave the next day. We communicated with him for half a year. He came back to Thailand and we started doing viewings together. I showed him about 25 resale properties. For 3 days, from morning till evening, I would leave with him at 8 in the morning and return home at 8 in the evening. We saw everything. In the end, he bought properties from me totaling 25 million. Yes, I even get goosebumps again. Yes, first we bought 2 new builds, then 2 more, then another one. All the projects are great. He himself later said, Lyudmila, I don't know what happened, I don't know how it happened, but for some reason, whenever I meet with you, I end up spending money. I said, the main thing is that you're doing it right. I think you'll be happy with it, with the result. And for me, that's a point of pride.
Okay, there was one client. She wants to get like a very big spacious space in a city center. And her budget was around only 2 to 3 million baht. So she also looking the other project with the other company too. So I can understand her feeling as a client. They have a will to look with the other agents as much as they want. But if they're going to buy it, I don't recommend her to buy the old project because we are not very sure how is the old apartment owner is dealing with this situations at right now. So she asked me for advice that she was looking into this one particular condo, and I told her not to buy it, but she do it anyway. Now she having a big trouble because of the previous owner. She was dealing with the bank policies. Yes, and now she is going with the trial with the lawyer to get it done. I already told not to buy it, not to do it. Even if she wants to do it, she have to really look forward into how the previous owner was doing with her financial statements, not to be so rushed because there are a lot of property that we can choose from it.
I had a client who really wanted to buy a very controversial project, and they really worked him over, did some very good psychological work with him, really high quality, to the point where he was almost ready to buy, but I talked him out of it. I also knew a bit of the inside story, so my expertise saved him money because the project still hasn't been completed after so many years.
Are you planning to inspect the apartment yourself when you arrive, or will you have someone else do it?
No, I want you to handle it so that everything is taken care of from start to finish.
Actually, we really do offer a full cycle, and we have a dedicated technical supervision team that inspects the units and ensures that everything is exactly as you expect it to be.
We prevent situations that would require rework. We prevent issues related to that. For example, let's say you bought a villa for $1 million. Now that's a lot of money. But when you arrive, the quality of the finishing is nowhere near what you'd expect for $1 million. For instance, the tiles are laid without any trimming, done in a sloppy, makeshift way like they do in a stairwell. The walls aren't properly prepared for painting, the horizontal and vertical alignment of the openings isn't maintained, and so on. So we identify all of these issues, fix them, and make the contractors redo the work. For example, we spent 5 months completely redoing one villa. We redid the entire facade, replaced all the tiles inside, repainted all the walls, and even partially demolished the ceilings. This is just, for example, when the developer officially handed over a letter stating that the buyer came to accept the villa, that it was supposedly ready, but its condition was terrible. The floors were uneven, for instance, so we had to redo them. There were contour slopes. If you put, say, a wardrobe, it would stand unevenly. And the same would happen with a table in the future. The furniture that the developer arranged for you might have just been placed in those spots and they didn't move the table. If we move the table, for example, to another place, it will stand crookedly. There will be cracks running along the interior walls, which we fix, making sure to reinforce all the corners, all the joints. We open up and repair every crack. That means they won't appear for 3 to 5 years. This will eliminate constant problems with warranty repairs, with warranty service for developers, and so on.
Igor, from my point of view, I would say that history is not only studied, but also made. This person is history. This person is a legend who has been involved in huge projects. He has led projects ranging from ordinary residential buildings, about 25 stories high, to industrial facilities, to factories. This is a person who has worked in different locations and in different countries. And all of this experience, his distilled knowledge and production culture, he has brought here and implements to the fullest in every project, whether it's technical supervision, design, or construction. That is, he has built entire residential districts. These are 25-story towers, like the Snegovaya Pad district, for example, here in Vladivostok, and also Patrokol. Well, of course, he didn't oversee all of Patrokol. There he was responsible for several buildings, like some 5-story buildings and townhouses. Yes, but the very fact is that this is a person who managed a team of 300, even 500 people. So we're talking about that kind of scale.
There's a slang term called visual literacy, right? So visual literacy means the eyes of an engineer with enough experience can immediately spot flaws, cracks, whether something is horizontal or vertical, improper joints, or anything else like that. So with our experience, for example, we need about 2 hours to inspect a 300 square meter villa. And within 2 days, we provide the developers with a complete defect report, including a full photo report and a description of all defects. Right now, we're working with a client who has already entrusted us with his 5th property to manage. The first time we inspected a villa for him, he was a bit hesitant, unsure whether he needed this service or not. He had a woman there who basically managed the rental of his properties. He has acquaintances here, and he's been investing here for more than a year. But after we spent 5 months completely renovating his very first villa, he became so grateful to us. He's very satisfied with Botanic and believes that his villa is, let's say, the best one on his street, the very best. And after that, he entrusted us with his 5th property, and now all his properties are under construction supervision.
Head of the sales department, Anastasia. With Nastya, everything is very structured, everything is clear, everything is organized and disciplined. This applies to the employees within the company as well. Everyone knows where they're headed, what they're responsible for, and everyone knows when and how to respond to the client and with what information. Similarly, when working with clients, all information is conveyed simply, clearly, and in a timely manner. And in working with developers, that is, all our events, new launches, pre-sales, everything is tracked, notifications are sent on time, and again, all information is delivered to the primary clients, just like hot pies straight out of the oven.
I read people very well, whether it's online format, calls, or Zoom meetings. We go through everything from start to finish, what kind of island it is, which areas, where they are, what makes each area special, what the infrastructure is like, what the points of attraction are, what the price growth is, at what stage of construction we are entering, at what period, and accordingly, what taxes there are and how the paperwork is done. Even now, I still go to exhibitions, yes. Even now, people come up and have doubts. Is it really possible to register property without a Thai national? Supposedly, 51% has to be in a Thai's name and 49% in theirs. That's not true. In Thailand, you can easily register property in the client's passport with a direct contract between the developer and the future owner. And there are 2 forms of ownership. This brings us to the second point. Everyone thinks you can only buy long-term leases. When we explain that no, you can actually buy full ownership and the property will be yours forever, people are really surprised. This really surprises people. Many of them don't know about it. Thailand allows this and the process is straightforward. A few years ago, I used to say that I would never live in Phuket, but I really loved coming here for vacations. And when COVID happened, the borders were closed. I had experience with another country. And for comparison, when I came here, I realized that this is it. It's the people around you, the Thais, this vibe, this kindness, the sincerity, and the aesthetics themselves. All of this is so important to me. And these beaches, palm trees, the sun, the greenery, this brightness, this pleasant feeling of both comfort and coziness from the people, and the aesthetic scenery as well.
Albina is a top-level expert, truly top-level. She literally knows everything about every developer. She is very meticulous. She will dig out every little thing, every detail to fully inform the client whether they should choose this project or that one. In other words, she selects exactly according to the client's goal. She delves very deeply, provides excellent service, and truly goes through the entire selection process with the client, as well as the subsequent support of their investments.
I generally try not to practice a utilitarian approach, that is a functional approach. All I try to see in a person is the person themselves, above all, without expecting that they will do something for me, like buy something, for example, necessarily. Sometimes it happens that there are so many doubts, but at the same time, the impulse is just as strong. So yes, you can try to push on the impulse, or you can slow down a bit and give them time to process everything they've received. And then they have the opportunity to make a well-considered decision rather than making some impulsive purchase or deposit, which they will simply back out of later because they realize they can't, aren't ready, or don't want to.
Jan, over a year and a half of producing and running our YouTube channel and the videos we deliver to clients, has visited every location where we offer the opportunity to purchase or invest in real estate. He is the broker who is deeply involved in every project. He knows the details of every project. As they say, you could wake him up in the middle of the night and he would get up and explain everything, laying it all out clearly and in order. He is a very meticulous person by nature, very thorough. He will get every possible discount, bonus, and promotion from the developers, everything possible for the client. In other words, this is a person who is focused on achieving results for their client, who truly lives through the process with the client and their needs, and delivers genuinely great, beautiful, and aesthetically pleasing solutions.
I really enjoy making choices. I love comparing. I love analyzing. I'm very meticulous about it. When I come to view units, it's very important for me to see how the developer treats their showroom. If I see that something is falling apart, something is unfinished, and I ask the manager, well, why is this in your showroom, in your business card, so to speak, in your portfolio? Why is this here right now? And if the developer responds, oh, we'll do it better, for me, that's not a good sign. It just sounds like an excuse. And so it would be difficult for me to select such properties, which is why quality, reliability, progress, long-term prospects, expertise, and honesty are important to me.
Diana joined our company from the premium rental market. She worked there for many years, and she knows exactly which properties, when, where, and how are best rented out. So if you have a goal to invest in rental properties, she is the person who will package, select, and rent out your apartment or villa under the best possible conditions.
Yes, I ran my own business. I initially started with entrepreneurship, and then, since I had set up all the business processes, I had some free time and wanted to delve deeper into the history of real estate. I decided to start with rentals and then move on to sales, so that I would know what happens to the property after it is purchased, how it is rented out, under what conditions, and what the pros and cons are in each location. That's why I started with rentals first.
Let's talk about the ownership. Do you know about the leasehold and freehold options?
I think I understand it. Maybe it's good if you explain it very succinctly for me. Just explain to me again the way it works. So
you need to know that foreigners can own here property in freehold. So it will be really your own property, and you need to pay taxes. But if you want to buy a villa, the ground under the villa will be in leasehold, and the building will be in freehold.
Okay. I will own the building, but the land itself will be leased.
Yes. Yeah, but if you want to buy a condo, you can choose to buy it in freehold or leasehold. You have variety.
Yeah, just the villa. The villas are different.
Vika is about the fact that if you just went to have a look at something,
I'm just here to ask a question.
If you just want to ask a question, you'll definitely end up buying it. So it's her charisma multiplied by her knowledge.
Once, a client asked me, are you real? Are you real, or is some man texting me instead? So I record a short video and say, hello, sorry, I'm without makeup, just like in the photo. A beautiful woman, whether she's pretty or not, if she's stupid, no one will give her money. When it comes to buying an apartment, if she can't properly guide the right client and provide them with complete information, the full picture, then appearance doesn't matter anymore. It's just an extra bonus. I'd like to highlight a few small details that can influence a client's choice of property type or, in general, their decision to buy real estate. The first is the view characteristics. When clients come for a short vacation, they are willing to pay extra for a good view. They want to wake up every day and see beauty, to be surrounded by beauty. The infrastructure of the complex, because many people want everything to be available right in the complex, so that everything is within walking distance. Again, not everyone comes and rents a car. Transportation. Infrastructure not only within the complex itself, but also in the surrounding area, because everyone knows that Thailand is not Turkey, where you can just stay in one hotel. Here, there are things to see and places to go. We have a lot of beaches, many different ones, really a lot, beach clubs. And still, when people come on vacation, it's important not to be somewhere really far away, really far. You want it so that for people, the external infrastructure is also very important. So the location of the complex also plays a role.
Artyom.
Yes, Artyom.
Artyom has been living in Phuket for more than 12 years now.
He went to school here.
He graduated from an international school here and then graduated from a university in Bangkok. And Artyom is kind of an engine for investing money. He always knows where it's best to go in, when to do it, where to put the money, and how to get out afterwards. Yes, he has this unique quality, a kind of instinct for investments, an instinct for money. And he calculates everything to the maximum. So if you're an investor who needs to get in at the very best pre-sales, grab the best discounts and bonuses, and then exit properly, either reinvest or switch to rental, then Artyom is definitely your guy. Yes, and it's important to add that he does the same for himself. He owns several properties and he buys them himself with the same drive. And in fact, he shares the experience that he lives through himself.
You know, I often tell clients to sleep on the idea of buying real estate. And even if, I've had several cases where people made a purchase. On the very same day after the first meeting, yes, sometimes deals happened within 2 hours, just like that. But that's more of an exception because I always recommend everyone to go home, sleep on it, think it over, and in the morning, you'll wake up, especially after comparing several properties. I think this is probably the main insight that should happen. After interacting with me, I don't insist on making a purchase. Right here and now, I always say you're not buying watermelons at the market, you're buying real estate. The average client doesn't have some huge budget that allows them to just make a purchase. Here, 5 apartments, there 10 here, another 15 to add, to build yourself a portfolio. And then some will work out, some will go up in price, some won't. The average client doesn't have that kind of opportunity. And often they invest a large sum, a significant amount of money for them. And the most important insight that should happen is that I'm not insisting, again, let's switch places. For example, I would think carefully about making an expensive purchase. Like, for instance, buying some kind of expensive car. Well, just off the top of my head, I'd want to go sleep on it, think it over, wake up in the morning and decide for myself, is it really the one for me?
Nastya, our representative in Moscow, has been coming to Phuket for over 15 years. And in fact, for her, it's a kind of place of power. She simply shares her experience and insights with clients. She herself is the owner of property located in Phuket. She is our representative at international exhibitions. So anyone who wants to meet and talk in person, Nastya is present at every exhibition.
I guess I'm not much of a salesperson in that sense. I believe it should be an internal, mature decision, and convincing adults that they should do things this way and not another, in my opinion, always has delayed consequences when they haven't come to terms with themselves internally. And I believe that buying an apartment abroad is the kind of purchase that should be made consciously, with desire and with a firm internal decision. We take part in many international exhibitions, about 10 a year, sometimes even more. And there, clients come who are interested and for whom the reliability of the company is important. They can see us, interact with us, and make sure that we consistently participate with our own booth. This establishes us as a company with a solid reputation, and people who do not work very honestly do not participate in public exhibitions every year, every season. That's why it increases the level of trust among clients. It's nice.
Rosie is the mistress of Bangkok. She is someone who grew up in this city. She has been visiting it since childhood. She often traveled here with her parents. She herself is originally from Burma, and her unique ability is knowing 3 languages, and she's learning a 4th. That is, she speaks Burmese, Chinese, and English, and is now learning Thai. At the same time, while working in Bangkok, she is also earning her master's degree. Rosie is all about expertise in the Bangkok market right now.
The main thing I have to say it's locations. Now most people know about the Bangkok that transportations it's very important because we can be just riding a car or grabbing a taxi because it wastes so much time. So now I choose for more project that is close to the BTS or MRT, or maybe they have a very good transportation system. So the second one, it can be say is the facilities from the project that is provided to our client, to us. So sometimes the project they build is really good, but there are no facilities, like only the lobby here, and then it's the pool, then it's enough. And the third one, it can be say is the room layout. Sometimes we don't like our room to our bed to be seen from the outside, seem to be just coming in from the front door. So we need a very good privacy for our room layout to be separated. So I think that will be also. And the fourth one will be the which developer that they build it, because we need a good guarantee for our future investment. How would be the foundations is going to stand out it all in the longer year.
Lucia is our representative in Pattaya. Lucia has 10 years of experience living, investing, working with the market and with clients. Lucia is all about the numbers, all that analytics, fresh from the primary market, the secondary market, and rentals. In other words, she's a broker who is constantly up to date with numbers and data in real time. And just by coming to her, you get a summary, the very best, most high quality, cool, and interesting options tailored to your request, to your investments at that moment in Pattaya.
My parents are investors, and I'm constantly looking at apartments for them. We've already bought them 4 apartments, and we're always on the lookout to buy something else. We also buy ready-to-move-in ones so that they can earn rental income, because they're still working pensioners, but in the future, they want to move completely. And our goal is for this to be passive income that they can live on. And in Thailand, you can live, let's say, on 50,000 baht, $1,500 to $2,000. A married couple can live on that. To do this, you need to buy 2 or 3 apartments, even small ones sometimes, and earn income. So my scheme is quite simple. It's what brings in income right now here and something you can resell later. I do this because I am a realtor myself, and this is also part of my job and part of my income.
And who represents Cambodia?
In Cambodia, we have Sviatoslav, Ksenia, Evgenia, and Jana. This is a family that moved to Cambodia 3 years ago, and before that, they had 10 years of experience working in real estate. They live there permanently. The children go to school and kindergarten. They are top-level experts with vast experience. So when you arrive, you are greeted and receive the most comprehensive insights, analytics, and development prospects.
People don't choose Cambodia because it's beautiful, cool by the sea or anything like that. There needs to be a logical chain so that a person understands from an analytical point of view what they're getting into and why they're going there and what they should expect. A constructive question. So what is the development of Cambodia? Because very few people know Cambodia, very few have looked into it. Just 3 years ago for everyone, it might as well have been in Africa when we started advertising and selling it. Then of course, when they see Cambodia's development structure, the signed agreements, when this whole logical chain comes together, in fact, it's not the sea that attracts the client. What attracted them more was Phnom Penh, the capital, and they understand why they're entering there. The client really loves Turkey. He had bought about 25 properties in Turkey, but he wasn't granted a residence permit and he was forced. He had to leave urgently and he was upset and disappointed with Turkey because he had done everything for this. And he started looking for a market he wanted to enter. He saw me on YouTube, watched my videos, wrote to all the agents, chose me and said, "I just feel that you have a soul. And when I feel that a person has a soul, I go with them." And usually I have never been wrong about that. And that's how he started with 1 property. And literally within a week, he bought 14 more properties. An older man who moved to Cambodia, and now he really likes Cambodia, and he's looking for a house on an island.
Elena is the source of inspiration, the support, the driving force, the motivation. She is everything that makes you get up and keep going, even in difficult moments.
It really seems to me that hardly a single day ever passes without us engaging in deep discussions about various important issues, specifically about people, our strategy, and also my personal vision. He knows quite well that I have a unique vision, even if it's a bit different from the norm, and he frequently reaches out to consult with me from my perspective. Yes, so we sit down and go over certain questions, like should we do this or should we do something else? Honestly, it concerns absolutely everything. I told him that he would actually make a pretty good crisis manager because when it comes to big processes, he very quickly understands where things can be adjusted. As for, again, the big strategic issues, he can see them in advance, anticipate them and say, here, this is likely to happen, so we need to start taking certain actions and steps ahead of time. Dennis can't stop, and right now he only envisions the company as an international business. It's all about expansion, expansion, and more expansion.
Kate. Katya, she has been with the company since its very foundation, from the very first day of its formation and, in fact, the development of its corporate style.
Yes, indeed.
Katya is maximally involved in all promotion and marketing processes. To give an example, Katya is like the circulatory system that carries oxygen to all the important elements of the company and reads the market. How do clients see us? What do they feel? And she adjusts our goals, our plans, and our movement toward our mission. That is, she packages it specifically as an image and in a way that is understandable for the market.
An agency has a better chance of getting exclusive terms. Why? First of all, when we come in as a group, for example, if we have several clients who want to buy in this project and we add a new client's apartment to that, of course, we're much more likely to get an additional discount, maybe even a free furniture package, simply because we're making a large volume purchase all at once. And this has nothing to do with any special relationships we might have with developers. It's just business, and it makes sense. Secondly, we have a history of working with certain developers. We see potential in specific projects from certain developers. We make sales there more often, and we already have special terms in place if a client comes through us. And there's also another factor here, which is mentality. After all, this is a different country, and here you need to know how to talk to people.
Lisa, even trends are afraid of Liza because she outtrends them all. This is visuals, this is beauty, this is aesthetics, this is style.
We talk about real cases that we have, and in doing so, we showcase our experience. That's it. And in addition, we don't just put a talking head on display, but also beautiful content. We show the area where we live and what we sell through our own eyes. That's really cool.
Phuket. This is a premium low-rise location with a great vibe for relaxation, meeting people, and doing business. Here, you can recharge and unwind. It's a great place to invest money, earn rental income, and profit from resales. Pattaya. Pattaya is more about proximity to the center, proximity to the capital. These are the benefits of the capital, but still not right in the center. It's off to the side, about an hour's drive, and you have the sea. It's beautiful, and you have islands. Again, it's an investment, so it's cheaper than Phuket, more affordable than Phuket, and it's simply a billiard table that has already been established for a long time. Bangkok is, of course, the heart of the capital. It's the center of Thailand. For me, it's more about brands. In residences, it's still a certain prestige, its image, its status. For me, Bangkok is brands in residences, it's rooftops, it's concerts, events, a city, a celebration. Cambodia as a whole, but if we're talking about my capital, it's Phnom Penh. For me, Phnom Penh is probably Bangkok in 10 to 15 years. Maybe faster, depending on how they develop. But if you compare, let's say, with another country, Cambodia is logically understandable. That is, there are three main cities. There's Siem Reap, which is the site of the ancient temples of Angkor Wat, and all the culture and values of the Khmer Empire that once existed. And Siem Reap is the ancient capital of Cambodia. Next, we move on to the capital, which is Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh is located at the confluence of three rivers. When the issue arose that Siam started to carve up their territory, they themselves asked the French for help. And when the French arrived, they actually forced the capital to be moved from Siem Reap to Phnom Penh because it was a more logical point for logistics, city development, and the import of goods and food. In other words, these are rivers and there is a direct access route. And to Siem Reap, to the center, there by the lake, and Sihanoukville, which is a port city. That's why Phnom Penh is more like that, business-oriented, financial. A city for business, for development. Everything is clear there, everything is structured, and it is now being developed properly. Proper infrastructure is being laid out, divided into districts and blocks, and construction is proceeding in an orderly way. That is, roads are being built, airports are being constructed, infrastructure is being laid out, and then spaces for housing, entertainment, culture, and other things are created. In other words, it's not about fitting into what's already there, but about building things correctly from the start. Sihanoukville is the third most important city. It is located on the coast. The sea means islands, it means a port, the largest port, which to me looks like a pirate city. Why? Because of the casinos, there are a lot of Chinese people there. Their approach, their investments, yes, that's a fact. It used to be a small village, and in 3 or 4 years they tried to build a big city there, but everything slowed down a bit because of COVID. And now, according to the development plan for Sihanoukville up to 2028, they are completing all the unfinished buildings or else demolishing them and starting new construction there. And so in fact, 3 main development points are emerging. Siem Reap is about history, temples, historical hub. And then Phnom Penh, the capital, will be the digital, financial, and business center. And Sihanoukville is more of a logistics and maritime hub.
You talked about people. So now, as the owner of the company, just tell us personally, what does it mean to you specifically? We are for people and we are about people.
We are for people. In fact, everything we do for our clients. But how do we do it? Drawing upon our extensive professional experience, our deep collective knowledge, and our strong moral and ethical qualities. Furthermore, we act as sophisticated filters that meticulously collect information, process it thoroughly, and then deliver it directly to our clients, providing them with either a comprehensive ready-made solution or a specifically tailored answer to their unique request. Ultimately, when it comes to managing people, we do this not for our own benefit, but for the long-term success of our clients and our investors. Again, this is already their story and it's connected to them, and it's about the fact that we go through a certain journey together. And as I said, yes, we take the client or investor at the very beginning and show them our entire path, and essentially we show them where to go next. And then they decide for themselves whether to stay with us, move their investments elsewhere, or go to someone else.
Having dealt with many different real estate groups across the decades and purchased and sold many properties, I haven't encountered a company as competent, clear and concise as MERU Estates. The staff were fantastic. They didn't waste my time. It is a global world standard team. My dedicated account manager was fantastic, gave me all the correct information on time, every time. They are really world class and I couldn't recommend them more.
We don't just sell real estate. We give people confidence, security, and a pathway into the world of successful investments. And if you feel that it's time to take the first step, we're here for you.
What could be better than living in paradise on a paradise island? The sun, the sea, the people, the food.
Of course, we all come here first and foremost for this, for endorphins, for happiness, for joy. And when I came here, I found it. And honestly, it was one of the best decisions of my life to move here.
The sea. We are people who love nature. I have a tattoo on my leg dedicated to my love for nature. So for me, above all, Phuket is about nature, about freedom, about lightness.
I really like that here the sunrise is always at the same time and the sunset is always at the same time. My daily routine is always stable.
This is the only place where I feel physical and spiritual renewal, which is very difficult to achieve in other countries.
I see my children here. I would like to live here. I would like this to always remain my home.
Yes, actually, it's just that this is a friendly country that really won me over. It all started with the people. Everywhere you go, you're greeted with smiles. You feel comfortable wherever you are, and in any place, people will help you out, support you. In short,